Hey everybody, I want to talk today about whether or not the dinosaurs in Jurassic World should have feathers. A subject that is visual and also relates to how different audiences take things in. This has traditionally been a big problem for this franchise and for dinosaur movies in general, because we used to believe that dinosaurs did not have feathers and they became really popular with that image. But we found out around the 90s that they likely are much more related to birds than we thought, and most of them were actually covered in feathers. The Jurassic Park series started before that became scientifically accepted, and they had a bit of trouble handling this. In Jurassic Park 3, the dinosaurs started to have a few feathers as a sort of nod to that, but then when they brought the Jurassic Park series back with Jurassic World, they took the feathers back out. This is really difficult because this decision will affect different groups of viewers in a different way. On the first hand, you have adults, people maybe over the age of 35, who grew up with the more reptilian type of dinosaur which has scales. And those people come to the Jurassic World movies wanting to satisfy their curiosity about what those dinosaurs would look like in real life. So it's really important for them that you portray the image of dinosaurs that they had in their mind. And if you change it, you not only lose that sense of satisfying their curiosity, you also violate their sense of emotional confirmation. You change something that they've believed since they were kids. And while it might be true that they were wrong, they don't necessarily want to have that thrown in their face. And you always have to be careful about introducing anything that's going to give people negative feelings in a film. And now, beyond that, you have young adults, who more likely grew up with feathered dinosaurs. In their case, they won't have any problem at all if you add the feathers to the dinosaurs in the movie, and you actually will violate confirmation for them, in addition to violating the believability, if you use the old style dinosaurs in it. So they're almost directly opposed to the way the other adults will look at it. And beyond even that, you have young kids who won't know the difference either way. They'll definitely accept the dinosaurs if you add feathers, but you have another problem, which is that for those kids, it's more important that it be exciting for them to see than anything else. And the feathers actually take away from that, which is part of the problem with marketing dinosaurs in general now. We have an instinctive fear of reptiles, and particularly snakes, much more than we do of birds, because traditionally, snakes have been more dangerous to people than birds have. It's very likely that if we had somehow developed alongside dinosaurs, and those dinosaurs had feathers, and they ate a lot of people, we'd be much more naturally afraid of feathers. But the way it is now, because the apparent asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, and you can read about this on Wikipedia, it's pretty cool, within the course of a few hours, actually made pretty much everything that didn't fly or burrow under the ground go extinct, birds today are almost exclusively flying animals, which means they have hollow bones, and they're not physically strong, so they're not a huge threat to people. And you can't change that instinct. You just have to accept it when you make a movie and market it to people. They're going to have that natural reaction, and you want to make something that will work within that reaction to give them a good time. So you have a situation where no matter what you do, one group of people is going to be unhappy with the way you show the dinosaurs in the movie. But there's some other things going on with it too, and I want to take a second to talk about that, because we touched on it in the video about the bat suit, but I didn't really get a chance to go into it, which is that emotional indiscretion, which we talk about here, where different things trigger the same emotions in our body, comes into play a lot when you make these decisions. Because we're always tracking things like what people think of us and what we think of the person who made the movie while we're watching. And if you show people a movie that may be slightly less exciting, but is more accurate, that gives a feeling that the filmmaker worked harder, and that makes us appreciate that filmmaker more, and like that filmmaker and want them to succeed, and it gives us a feeling of being respected. And both of those trigger that feeling of confirmation in our brains, that the world consists of hardworking people who do well, and that we're valuable people ourselves in society. And we have to look at how that emotion relates to the things that you lose by making certain choices to decide what you should do. And in this case, that feeling of confirmation is actually slightly less powerful than the feeling of improvement. Improving our understanding, improving our social status, whatever it may be. And that feeling of emotional confirmation that you get from the movie being more accurate does in fact give people a better time overall than the excitement that you would feel from the dinosaurs looking like reptiles and being more threatening. But that same feeling doesn't actually outweigh the satisfying of curiosity. Satisfying our curiosity improves our mental model, and that gives us that most powerful feeling. So while you may lose some excitement with younger adults when you show feathered dinosaurs attacking people, you gain something more powerful by letting them know you worked hard to give them an accurate movie, and you treated them like they're smart. But you also lose more with the older adults who expect the dinosaurs to be scaly because it doesn't satisfy their curiosity about what those dinosaurs would look like in the real world. But having said that, it's not a completely unsolvable problem. When you make these decisions, the best thing to do, as far as I can tell, is to find the option that's believable among the many things you can show that people will accept, but that also gives you the most extra emotion. And with the way the Jurassic Park series is set up, there's ways to do that, because these are not natural dinosaurs. They're dinosaurs that were created by scientists. And the solution I always had in mind was to have the dinosaurs have no feathers, and to just have at one point one of the geneticists say they took the feathers out, because that's what people expect to see. And that's what they ended up doing with the Jurassic World series.
We have always filled gaps in the genome with the DNA of other animals, and if their genetic code was pure, many of them would look quite different, but you didn't ask for reality, you asked for more teeth.
Which is why I think they ended up taking the feathers back out in those movies. So you won't satisfy the curiosity of young adults who want to see dinosaurs that look like the ones they saw in class, but at the very least, you don't violate their sense of believability, and you don't create that bad feeling by looking like you didn't try and didn't respect them. And you also gain by having the dinosaurs have that scaly look, which the older adults will like, and which the kids will respond to the most. So it's always a trade-off, and still people won't be 100% happy, but I think overall, that's the best result. I hope you enjoyed listening to this, and as always, I'll be back soon.